always had this interest in juxtaposition, sort of micro and macro, graphic and atmospheric, organic and geometric. And in particular, I was interested in this idea of the fractal geometry of nature and how patterns repeat themselves at infinite scales. This body of work is coming full circle from the artist residencies that I've just completed at sea and sort of returning back to the themes of my work that I've been kind of exploring over the last several years. This idea of when you're looking at a painting, not being sure if you're looking at something through the lens of a microscope or through a satellite image. And then in some of them, I'm exploring forms that become solid and kind of exploring color and triangular forms, hexagonal forms, tying back to some of the scientific themes. Color has always been sort of the intuitive part of my process. I've always sort of thought in color. In grad school, I was working on a large scale in oil, and the paintings were very much about color and expressive and responsive mark making. They were all kind of done very expressively. Around the year 2000, I felt like the paintings needed more structure, and that's when I started leafing through my old geology textbooks. These plate tectonic diagrams really resonated for me. From that first time I decided to put this diagram into my painting, everything just started to make sense. From there, it became very clear that I wanted to pursue opportunities to learn about specific geology of different regions. And so I started applying for residencies in places where I thought that would be interesting from a geologic perspective. Then I had an opportunity to sail from the Galapagos Islands to California. Here was an opportunity for me to work directly with scientists, collecting new data and then painting about it while on the ship. It was definitely uncharted territory for me, so to speak, no pun intended. There were the challenges of the logistics of painting on a ship. At first I was trying to navigate this and sort of fighting the movement of the ship, and eventually I decided to sort of just go with the flow. I started pouring paint onto the canvas and allowing the rocking motion of the ship to kind of disperse the paint and allowing that sort of process to be evident in the final painting. I was then superimposing these sonar maps that we were collecting on top of these fields of color. That was an exciting moment that I then decided to bring back with me even into the studio. I'm working on a very large scale, and so I'm trying to replicate these pours, and it becomes sort of a performance. It gets very messy. I'm covered in paint afterwards. Even in these really organic pores, there's this idea of the fractal geometry of nature. But I love that they're very process-oriented, and then I'm going back in and working with more intentional and purposeful graphic forms. I keep going with the flow of where the work takes me, and whether that takes me into something sculptural or into something two-dimensional, sort of allowing the process to sort of inform me of what my next project's going to be.